88% of American millionaires are self-made, not inherited, not lottery winners, not trust fund kids who never had to figure anything out. 88 out of every 100 people who cross that seven-figure line in this country got there by building something, a business, a service, a system that made money whether or not they were personally in the room swiping a card to check their balance. And here's the number that should really stop you. The median amount most of those people started with was under $10,000. Not venture capital, not a rich uncle, a laptop, a weekend, and the willingness to actually begin. You've had the idea. Everybody watching this has had the idea. You're lying in bed at 11:47 p.m. scrolling, and you think, I could build that. You open a notes app. You type 3 bullet points. You close the app. You go to sleep. 6 months later you see someone else running that exact idea, except now it's got 40,000 followers and a wait list, and you feel that specific, sour feeling of watching your own thought walk past you wearing someone else's name tag. You've done this more than once. I've done this more than once. And every time, you told yourself the same reassuring lie. That you were being smart by waiting for the perfect idea, the perfect timing, the perfect amount of savings in the bank before you started. Except waiting for perfect isn't caution. It's just procrastination wearing a business casual outfit, and it has quietly cost more people their financial future than any bad investment ever could. Let me tell you about a guy named Marcus. Marcus worked in IT support for a mid-sized company, the kind of job where you fix the same 3 problems on a loop and nobody remembers your name unless something's broken. In 2019, on a random Tuesday, his printer at home jammed for the 5th time that month, and instead of just fixing it and moving on, he posted a 30-second video showing 3 other people how to fix that exact same jam on that exact same printer model. It got 11 views. He posted another one the next week, then another. He didn't quit his job. He didn't take out a loan. He filmed these videos on his phone, in his kitchen, for about 18 months before anything meaningful happened. By year 3, he had a modest channel, a small paid course teaching IT support basics to career changers, and about $4,000 a month in side income. By year 5, that side income had become his main income. The course had grown into a certification program, and he was clearing more from his laptop than he ever had fixing other people's laptops for a paycheck. Marcus never had a big idea. He had a jammed printer and the willingness to hit record instead of just closing the tray and moving on with his day. I want to walk you through 15 businesses that fit that same pattern going into 2026, low starting cost, real demand, no venture capital required, no permission needed from anybody. Some of these you'll have heard of. A few of these will genuinely surprise you. All 15 of them share one thing in common: somebody with less experience than you currently have is already making real money doing them, right now, while you finish watching this video. Business number 1. AI Workflow Consulting for Small Businesses. Most small business owners know AI tools exist. Almost none of them know how to actually implement one into their daily operations without breaking something or wasting a month figuring it out. That gap is the entire business. You learn 2 or 3 tools deeply: an AI scheduling assistant, an automated invoicing system, a customer service chatbot, and you sell a simple package. Audit their current workflow, set up the tools, train their team for 2 hours, done. Charge $1,500 to $3,000 per client. A local plumber, a dental office, a small law firm, none of them are going to build this themselves, and none of them want to hire a full-time employee to do it either. You need a laptop and about 2 weeks of focused learning to be more capable than 95% of the small businesses in your zip code. Business number 2, local service aggregator websites. Pick a service that's genuinely annoying to find good providers for in your area: power washing, gutter cleaning, appliance repair, whatever's underserved where you live. Build a simple, clean one-page website that ranks for best service near your city, and instead of doing the work yourself, you sell the leads that come in to actual local providers for $30 to $75 a lead, or take a flat monthly fee to be their exclusive lead source. You're not doing the labor. You're doing the marketing that the actual service providers are too busy or too disinterested to do themselves, and most of them will happily pay for a steady stream of pre-qualified customers. Business number 3, niche newsletter curation. Pick an industry that's drowning in information but starving for a trustworthy filter: commercial real estate in a specific metro area, changes in healthcare billing regulation, updates in a specific software ecosystem. Spend 3 to 5 hours a week reading everything so your subscribers don't have to, and send out one genuinely useful, well-organized email a week. Charge $15 to $40 a month for the paid tier. A newsletter with even 300 paying subscribers at $20 a month is $6,000 a month in recurring revenue, built almost entirely on your willingness to read carefully and write clearly, with essentially zero overhead. Business number 4, estate cleanout and downsizing services. This one isn't glamorous, and that's exactly why it's underserved. As the population ages, more families are dealing with a parent's house that needs to be emptied, sorted, sold off, or donated, usually during an emotionally exhausting time when nobody in the family wants to deal with logistics. You coordinate the sorting, the donation runs, the estate sale, sometimes the junk removal. Either doing it yourself with a small crew or subcontracting pieces of it out. Jobs commonly run $2,000 to $8,000 depending on the size of the home, and the demand is only growing as the largest generation in American history continues to age. Business number 5, faceless content production for local businesses. Most small businesses know they need consistent social media content and have neither the time nor the skill to produce it. You become the person who shows up once a month, films a batch of 10 to 15 short videos, no need to be on camera yourself. The content is about their business, their product, their staff, edits them, and delivers a full month of content ready to post. Charge $800 to $2,000 a month per client. Land 5 clients and you've replaced a full-time salary doing work that takes you a few focus days a month once you've built a repeatable system. Business number 6, reselling through arbitrage. This one's been around forever, but the tools available in 2026 make it more scalable than it's ever been. You find products selling cheap through clearance, liquidation, or overstock channels, and resell them at a markup through online marketplaces. The margins on individual items can look small, but the volume is where the real money lies, and a lot of successful resellers are running this almost entirely through their phone during hours they used to spend scrolling. It's not passive, but it's genuinely one of the lowest barrier businesses that exists. You can start with under $200 and reinvest as you go. Business number 7, specialized bookkeeping for a single industry. Generic bookkeepers are everywhere and they're commoditized, which means their pricing is squeezed. Bookkeepers who specialize deeply in one industry, landscaping companies, dental practices, short-term rental hosts, can charge 2 to 3 times more because they already understand the specific tax deductions, seasonal cash flow patterns, and software quirks of that niche. You don't need a CPA license to start, you need genuine competence, a handful of software certifications, and a willingness to become the obvious expert in a narrow lane instead of a generalist competing on price with everyone else. Business number 8, AI-assisted freelance writing and editing agencies. Yes, AI writes drafts now. What it doesn't do well is understand a specific client's voice, verify facts, and polish something into genuinely publishable quality without human oversight. The businesses winning here in 2026 aren't the ones ignoring AI or the ones blindly copy-pasting from it. They're the small agencies using AI to move fast on first drafts, then applying real editorial judgment on top. You can run this with a laptop and 2 or 3 reliable freelancers, taking a management cut on every project while building relationships with businesses that need a steady stream of blog content, email sequences, or website copy. Business number 9, micro SaaS tools for specific professions. You don't need to build the next major software platform. You need to build one small, genuinely useful tool that solves one annoying, specific problem for one specific profession. A scheduling calculator for wedding photographers, an invoice template generator for freelance contractors, a simple client intake form builder for therapists. With modern no-code and low-code tools, a single motivated person can build and launch something like this in weeks, not years, and charge $15 to $50 a month per user. You don't need thousands of users. A few hundred loyal ones running a tool that genuinely saves them time is a real, durable income stream. Business number 10. Pet care and boarding services. Pet ownership in this country has only climbed, and a huge share of pet owners are actively looking for alternatives to traditional kennels, in-home boarding, dog walking networks, specialized pet sitting for anxious or elderly animals. This is a business you can start with essentially no capital beyond your own time and reliability, and it scales naturally as you build a client base and eventually bring on subcontracted sitters and walkers underneath you, taking a percentage of bookings you route through your own brand instead of a big marketplace app that eats a huge chunk of every transaction. Business number 11, corporate training and workshop facilitation. Companies are constantly trying to check boxes around employee development, communication skills, conflict resolution, basic financial literacy for staff, leadership training for new managers. If you have genuine expertise in any professional skill and can package it into a clear, engaging half-day or full-day workshop, companies will pay $1,500 to $5,000 per session to bring you in, often repeatedly, once you've built a reputation. This is a business built almost entirely on your own knowledge and communication ability, with minimal overhead beyond a laptop and a willingness to get comfortable presenting to a room. Business number 12, Home Energy Efficiency Auditing. Energy costs keep climbing, and most homeowners have no real idea where their money is leaking out of their house: bad insulation, inefficient appliances, poor window seals. A home energy audit business identifies these leaks and recommends fixes, sometimes partnering with local contractors for referral fees on top of the audit fee itself. With a modest certification and some basic equipment, this is a service business with genuinely strong margins, growing demand driven by rising utility costs, and very little existing competition in most mid-sized markets. Business number 13, Subscription Box Curation for Underserved Niches. Big generic subscription boxes have mostly been figured out already. What hasn't been figured out are the smaller, deeply specific niches. A monthly box for people who keep reptiles, a curated box for competitive board gamers, a regional box highlighting small batch food producers from one specific state. Smaller niches mean smaller total audiences, but they also mean far less competition and far more customer loyalty, because you're serving a community that's used to being ignored by mass market brands. Business number 14, Short-term rental co-hosting. You don't need to own property to make real money in short-term rentals. Plenty of property owners have a unit they want to list but no time, interest, or skill to manage guest communication, cleaning coordination, and pricing optimization. Co-hosts typically take 15% to 25% of the booking revenue in exchange for running the entire operation, and a single motivated co-host managing 8 to 10 properties across a city can build a genuinely substantial income without ever owning a single piece of real estate themselves. Business number 15. AI voice and video localization services. As more creators, courses, and companies want their content available in multiple languages, there's a growing need for people who can manage AI-assisted dubbing and localization projects, overseeing quality, handling the cultural nuance AI still misses, coordinating with a small team of reviewers who catch what the automated tools get wrong. This is a brand new category that barely existed a few years ago, growing fast, with very few established players yet, which means there's real room right now for someone willing to become an early expert in managing this kind of production pipeline. I asked Marcus once, a few years into his course business, what the actual turning point was, the moment things shifted from a hobby to a real income. He said it wasn't any single video going viral, and it wasn't any specific dollar amount hitting his account. It was somewhere around video 40 or 50, filmed in that same kitchen, when he realized he'd stopped waiting for permission to be good at something. Nobody had certified him, nobody had picked him. He just kept showing up with a phone and a jammed printer and eventually, quietly, become the person other people searched for when their own printer jammed. That's really what all 15 of these businesses have in common, underneath the specific mechanics of each one. None of them require someone else's approval to begin. Nobody's handing out permission slips for any item on this list. The only qualification required for every single one of them is deciding to start before you feel ready, because feeling ready is a mood, not a milestone, and it has a way of never actually arriving on its own schedule. I'm not telling you that any of these 15 businesses are easy, or that they'll make you a millionaire by next Tuesday. Most of them take 1 to 3 years of consistent, unglamorous effort before the income becomes genuinely life-changing, and plenty of people who start any one of these will quit somewhere around month 4, right before the momentum was about to build. That's the honest part nobody puts in the thumbnail. What I am telling you is that every single one of these 15 paths is currently being walked, successfully, by ordinary people with no special advantage over you. No better degree, no richer parents, no secret head start. The thing about 2026 that makes this list different from a version of it written 10 years ago is how little capital most of these genuinely require to test. You don't need to quit your job. You don't need a business loan. You don't need to be right on the first try. Marcus didn't know his printer video would eventually become a 5-figure-a-month business. He just knew a printer jam was annoying, and he had a phone in his pocket. Somewhere on this list of 15 is a version of your own jammed printer, a problem you already understand better than most people around you, sitting there, mildly annoying, completely ordinary, waiting for you to hit record instead of just closing the tray and moving on with your day. The businesses that make people wealthy in 2026 won't look like a lightning bolt of inspiration. They'll look exactly like this: small, unglamorous, and started by someone who simply refused to keep waiting for a version of ready that was never going to show up on its own.